Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nick Kawaii. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Today we are doing something that I'm very excited about. We are doing the IBA, the International Battle Association Season 1.5 Draft. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, the IBA is a draft league that I am a part of, and 1.5 is the season that we are doing. The reason it is called 1.5 is because it is in between what we call our regular seasons. We just finished with Season 1, and Season 2 won't start until the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC comes out mid-June. So, for the coming weeks between now and mid-June, we all decided, the group of the IBA decided we would do a kind of mini randomized draft, which means you can see there's 11 spots here on the screen, 11 Pokemon that we will each have on our draft, and it is going to be completely randomized. We have no idea who we were getting, and we had no say about who was being added to our team, which makes it very unique. And all of us were talking, and none of us have ever seen a randomized draft before. And if you want any more specific further information, I will have a detailed description of what the draft league is, what the rules are, what everything's all about down in the description down below. So make sure you check out that for more information on what the draft league is and how it works. So as you can see here on the screen, we have a couple different tiers for our Pokemon. We went with, starting from the left at the bottom and going those two, and then down the list from top to bottom on the right hand column. So we have G-Max. Every person is getting a randomized Gigantamax Pokemon, minus a few of the bad ones, specifically Eevee and Meowth. I think all of the other ones were possible to get randomly generated and be put on our team. So again, G-Max is the first Pokemon that got randomly picked, and then it goes Uber. We get one Uber Pokemon as well as one Gigantamax. And to be noted with the Gigantamax, actually before I move on, the Gigantamax Pokemon is the only Pokemon we are allowed to Dynamax. This league only has Gigantamaxing. No regular Dynamaxing is allowed. And then again, we got one Uber. Everybody got one Uber. Then we split up the remaining 9 Pokemon, 3 OU, 3 UU, and 3 RU. We went with Smogon tiers, which again, if you're not familiar with Smogon tiers, I'll leave a link down below so you guys can check out what Pokemon were available in every tier, because we went with the top 3. OU, UU, and RU. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our first Pokemon that was randomly generated for us, our Gigantamax Pokemon for this season. We got Centiskorch. To be honest, am not a huge fan of Centiskorch. It's a pretty cool Pokemon. It's got a cool typing, Fire and Bug. It does have some severe weaknesses, being 4 times weak to rock type attacks, being that Bug and Fire are both weak to rock, giving it that 4 times weakness. But it does have some cool things it's got going for it. Its Gigantamax move is G-Max Centiferno, which does trap the opponent's Pokemon and causes a Fire Spin damage, which is just residual damage caused for a few turns. Not sure how many exactly. Then it's got some interesting abilities as well with Flash Fire, meaning that it absorbs fire type attacks, cannot be hit by fire type attacks, and then fire type attacks get a 1.5 times boost after getting hit with a fire type attack. Then we have White Smoke, which basically means its stats can't be lowered, which is good for a Pokemon not having its stats lowered. And then Flame Body, which is a really good ability as well. 30% chance of making contact with a Pokemon. 30% chance a Pokemon making contact with Centiskorch will be burned. Then, as far as Centiskorch's stats and moves go, it's definitely got good physical and decent special attack. It's got really good special defense and health points. Its defense stat and its speed stat are its worst, sitting at 65. It does get access to some good moves, such as Crunch, Coil, Knockoff, Fire Blast, Fire Lash. A lot of good fire type moves, Flare Blitz, Heat Wave. Also gets access to Leech Life and Lunge, and actually surprisingly gets access to Scald, Will-O-Wisps, X-Scissor. Lots of good coverage moves there, and good type moves. It's got like all of the fire moves. I don't know if there's a fire type move. Maybe Fire Punch is the only one I think it doesn't get, which is very cool. Definitely has some interesting things that can be done with it. Next up on our team is our Uber pick. We got Darmanitan, Galarian Darmanitan, we are fully allowed to run this thing with guerrilla tactics. One thing which, if you've looked down in the rules below, but I'll explain it now, with the Uber Pokemon, we decided as a league that we did not, if we were going to allow Uber Pokemon to be in this season of the IBA, that we made an additional rule that Uber Pokemon are not allowed to hold items. So I'm allowed to use Darmanitan with its ability Guerrilla Tactics, which, if you don't know what Guerrilla Tactics does, this Pokemon's attack is 1.5 times, but can only select the first move that it chooses. It basically is a choice band built in without needing an item. So giving any Uber, especially Darmanitan, an item would have kind of made the rest of the Pokemon not be able to compete as well. So we decided to make things a little bit more fair. No item on Darmanitan, but let alone, again, has a built-in choice band. Then also I can run the Zen mode ability if I don't want it to be locked into whatever move that I choose first. But Guerrilla Tactics, being basically a built-in choice band when other Uber Pokemon can't hold an item, is definitely really good. It's a good move. It's a good, really good ability on a good Pokemon with a blistering high attack stat of 140. It's got a really nice speed stat of 95. Decent HP at 105. Pretty good, actually. And then its defenses are pretty low. So it is what is commonly known as a glass cannon. Very powerful, but not made to take a lot of hits. Then its move pool, it gets a lot of it gets mostly good physical moves, good coverage with fighting type attacks, ground type attacks, fire type attacks. Does have some interesting moves for sure, but you know, mainly going to be doing damage with those ice and fire type attacks, which is cool for an ice type Pokemon to have a lot of fire type attacks. Definitely a very unique thing that Darmanitan has. Next up on our team is our first OU random pick. So the random wheel, which I don't think I explained earlier, but yeah, basically we put all of the Pokemon from each tier on a wheel, and we were just going through the draft, spinning a random wheel. Each person, again, got all their Pokemon randomized, and then we were also allowed to re-randomize 3 of our Pokemon if we didn't like certain Pokemon and we wanted to try for something else. But at the end of the day, with those 3 re-rolls in mind, it was still all random. So our first OU pick I am very happy with. We got the boy Curem. One of my favorite legendaries. It's just a really, really cool looking design. I really like it's supposed to be a husk of a Pokemon. It's kind of like missing its other pieces, which if you know anything about Black and White, which I'm sure most of you do, again, it fuses with Zekrom and Reshiram to form more of a complete dragon. But it's still a really good Pokemon on its own. It is dragon and ice type. It has the ability Pressure, not the best ability, but does put pressure, pun intended, on your opponent because their power points for their moves cost twice as much, essentially. This thing really can do a lot. It has options to be run physical or special. It's got really good special attack and physical attack. I believe they're exactly the same, sitting at 130, so it is incredibly powerful Pokemon. It just has really great stats across the board. It's got 130 in attack and special attack, 125 in HP, and then we're sitting at 90 for both defense and special defense, which is really nothing to slouch at, really solid, and then 95 speed. So all around, legendary Pokemon, of course, but a very good one at that. Again, getting access to physical and special moves, and a really good move pool of just tons of different types of, you know, psychic type, rock types, ghost type, ice and dragon and ground type attacks, and even some fighting type attacks. So it's got a lot of options going for it for sure. Next up in the OU tiers, we had gotten Grimmsnarl, which if you know me and you've watched my Draft League videos, you know I love Grimmsnarl. I've used Grimmsnarl before in the ABL, a different Draft League, and I am very familiar with Grimmsnarl. It is a powerful, very versatile Pokemon. Grimmsnarl has the Dark and Fairy type with the ability Prankster, as well as the ability Frisk and Pickpocket. Its main ability, its best ability, in most people's opinion, is Prankster, which means moves that do not do damage have their priority raised by 1, which means that they pretty much always go first. And that's really good because Grimmsnarl gets a a plethora of moves that are non-damaging. Setup moves such as Bulk Up and Nasty Plot. Also has dual screens, so Light Screen and Reflect. Also has Taunt and Thunder Wave. And I believe those are pretty much the most notable ones, but has just a lot of good moves. Also, on the offensive side as well, Grimmsnarl has a 120 base attack, very powerful, has a solid 95 HP, not so great on the defense, 65 only there. Special defense is also alright at 75. It is very slow, only base 60 speed, so definitely takes advantage of the Prankster, giving it the priority to move first, and then has a respectable special attack at 95. And also has, again, both a good choosing of, has good special attacks for both Dark and Fairy with Dark Pulse and Dazzling Gleam. That's almost a tongue twister there. Also has Focus Blast, and then has a lot of physical moves as well it can run, like Hammer Arm and Ice Punch and Leech Life and Darkest Lariat and Play Rough. Has some moves that are also exclusive to itself, such as Spirit Break, which is a slightly weaker physical fairy type attack that does have a 100% chance to lower the target's special attack. So has some cool things it can definitely do. Also False Surrender, which is the 80 base power dark type physical move that can never miss. So definitely good there if accuracy is something you are concerned about. One other thing it does have is Trick, which with Prankster, Trick always goes first, and that swaps items, so you can give your opponent a bad item and potentially take their item that they need from them. Grimmsnarl, very versatile, very strong Pokemon, and I do want to mention actually, this spot on my team was actually originally Obstagoon, and I hadn't mentioned it up until this point, but this reminded me is we actually were also allowed one trade. Each person was allowed to partake in one trade. So I traded Slightly Salty my Obstagoon in exchange for Grimmsnarl. Clearly he valued Obstagoon and what Obstagoon can do more than Grimmsnarl, and Obstagoon is a really solid Pokemon as well. But I was happy with the trade because I'm more familiar with Grimmsnarl, and I had some really cool ideas with my team of things that I can do with Grimmsnarl. Alright, and moving on, our final Pokemon in the OU tier that we were given from the randomizer is Pelipper. Pelipper is a really solid water and flying type Pokemon that really mainly serves as a supporting Pokemon, but also can dish out some damage itself. One of the main things Pelipper is known for is its ability Drizzle, which when a Pokemon is switched in, it summons the Rain. And Rain lasts for 5 turns or 8 turns if it's holding a certain item called the Damp Rock. Mainly what Pelipper can do is set up the Rain, and in the Rain it actually benefits itself if you're running a more specially attacking variant. It does have a base 95 special attack and gets access to the move Hurricane, which is really powerful and never misses, because normally it only has 70% accuracy, so it can miss 3 out of 10 times basically, but in the Rain it never misses. It is 100% always accurate. And has really strong 95 special attack, a very solid special attack. So a powerful move like Hurricane that never misses, coming from a decent special attack like Pelipper, is one of the main ways it can deal damage. It also has access to the water type move Scald, which is just a good powerful water move that can also leave the opponent burned, which can be really good and deadly. Not really good for physical attackers if they get burned. So can do a lot there with those two moves. In addition to that, it does have a lot of supporting options as well, because it actually surprisingly has a base 100 physical defense. It is a very bulky defensive Pokemon and gets access to Roost and Knockoff and U-Turn and Defog, but has a lot of other hidden techniques as well. I'm seeing a lot of cool moves there with Tailwind and Toxic, and has good coverage with Seed Bomb and again I mentioned Knockoff, but also has Gunk Shot and Brave Bird and Double Edge. So lots of cool things that Pelipper can do, but it mainly serves as support, but can run a lot of offense on its own. Alright, and now that we are out of the OU, our first UU Pokemon that we were given is Serena. So Serena here is a standalone grass type Pokemon, and Serena has the ability Leaf Guard and Queen's Majesty, and also Sweet Veil. Queen's Majesty means that priority moves do not work, such as Sucker Punch or Quick Attack or Bullet Punch. There's a lot of moves that are priority, which normally means they go first, but Queen's Majesty blocks the opponent from using those priority moves. But the good thing that Serena does have is a really high attack stat and pretty good defensive stats. It's got 120 base attack with defense and special defense sitting at 98 and an okay HP stat at 72. And it's decently fast. It's pretty mid to low speed actually. 72 base speed isn't very fast. But what it can do again is has options to be really powerful. I have seen people put Choice Band on it just to boost that 120 base attack even higher and use moves such as Power Whip or Seed Bomb. And then it also has U-turn and Headbutt and Low Kick and Knockoff and High Jump Kick. So lots of good physical moves to choose from. The other thing it can do is it does get access to Rapid Spin in this game, which gets rid of hazards, which is really good to be able to get rid of hazards. Having multiple Pokemon that can do that is really good, and I am glad that my team has that with multiple Pokemon already. And that's pretty much what Serena does. It can Rapid Spin or it can deal a lot of damage. There's not really a whole lot else you can do with it. It does have some other moves. You know, it has Synthesis to heal itself up, has Toxic to poison the opponent, gets access to Play Rough, which I did not mention, which is just a very powerful Fairy type attack, which is good to have. Does get access to, I believe, Light Screen and Reflect as well. Yeah, that's about it. That's what Serena does. Not the best, but I think I re-rolled. I had something else before. I'm blanking, but I ended up with Serena. Again, not my favorite Pokemon, but we'll see what we can maybe do with it. Alright, next up here in the UU we have Rhyperior, a very powerful rock and ground type Pokemon, more known for being good in double battles, but in single battles has a lot of cool things it can still do. Does get access to hazards like Stealth Rock, does get access to both, I believe, does get access to, yes, both Swords Dance and Rock Polish, plus just a plethora of really powerful physical attacks like Thunder Punch and Super Power and Stone Edge and Shadow Claw, Rock Slide, Outrage, Mega Horn, Iron Head, just pretty much physical attacks of almost every type. Fire Punch, Fire Fang, Earthquake, Crunch, Brick Break, just really good coverage. It's got moves from all different types, even gets access to Aqua Tail, plus setup moves like, again, Rock Polish and Swords Dance. It's a really physically offensive Pokemon with an attack stat of 140, also really physically defensive, has a defense stat of 130, with an HP stat of 115. It is meant to do a lot of damage and take a lot of physical hits. The rest of its stats are not so great because of that. No special defense at 55, really slow Pokemon, so relies on its bulk and being able to deal damage quickly. The last Pokemon here we have for UU is Lucario, another Pokemon I have used in a different draft league before. Actually, the first season of the IBA, I had Lucario on my team. Lucario has always been known for being a really good Pokemon. It can be run physically or specially. It has 115 special attack, 110 base physical attack, 90 base speed, and then 70 base for HP defense and special defense. Its fighting and steel type gives it good coverage, lets it hit dark types and fairy types both alike, and for super effective damage. Gets, again, really good moves with Calm Mind and Swords Dance and Nasty Plot and just a whole bunch of physical and special moves. So pretty much Lucario can run any sort of offensive type that it wants, again, whether that's physical or special. It has the moves to set up and deal a lot of damage. So Lucario is definitely a threat and a really good Pokemon, and I'm glad to have him here on my team. Alright, and the first Pokemon here we got for RU is Xatu. Xatu is a Pokemon that I think is actually going to prove to be really good this season. It's not traditionally an amazing Pokemon, it is an RU, but there's a lot of cool things it can do. It has Synchronize and Magic Bounce, two really good abilities. Synchronize, if the Pokemon gets burned, poisoned, or paralysis, then the Pokemon who put the status on Xatu also gets that status. And then Magic Bounce blocks and bounces back certain moves like Stealth Rock and Sticky Webs and Spikes. So hazards cannot be set up if Xatu is in your face. Also, Magic Bounce bounces back things like Toxic and Thunder Wave as well. So it can't be hit by them at all, let alone Synchronize. It just bounces them right back to the opponent trying to use them. Xatu gets access to Baton Pass and Calm Mind, and I believe Nasty Plot as well. Not Nasty Plot. Nope, not Nasty Plot. So it gets access to Calm Mind and Baton Pass, Dazzling Gleam, Defog, Giga Drain, Haze, Heat Wave, Light Screen, Magic Coat, Protect, Pain Split, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Roost, Substitute, Sucker Punch, Tailwind, Thunder Wave, Toxic, Trick, Trick Room, U-Turn, and Wish. It can do so much. It is such a great supportive Pokemon. It can do whatever your team needs. It can get rid of Hazard. It can pass boosts with Baton Pass. It can put up light screens and reflects. It can put up tailwinds. It can set up trick rooms. It can do whatever you want. And again, Psychic and Flying are pretty good. It's a pretty good type just to have on the team to protect some of our weaknesses. Alright, the next Pokemon in RU that we got in the second to last Pokemon overall on our draft is Salazzle. Salazzle is a really cool and unique Pokemon. I believe the only Pokemon ever created that is the Fire and Poison type. So Salazzle, being very unique, does things that other Pokemon cannot. Its ability Corrosion can poison other Steel and Poison types, which normally Poison and Steel types are both immune to being poisoned. But again, Salazzle's ability Corrosion allows it to do this, to kind of basically click Toxic on anything that it wants. It can also set up with Nasty Plot and just start launching Fire type and Poison type attacks that are really, really powerful after one boost, because it has a 111 base special attack stat and it is blazing fast at 117 base speed. Not very defensive at all, very low defense, but again, very fast and very powerful, and can set up if given the opportunity. Alright, and finally, last but surely not least, we have our final RU Pokemon, Aromatisse. We have a pure Fairy type, which is really good to have a Fairy type. Up until this point, the only Fairy I had was Grimmsnarl, so now we're looking really good. We got Pokemon of all types, and Aromatisse helps round out the team. It is a pretty bulky Pokemon, having 89 special defense and 72 defense, but a really high 101 base HP. So it can take a lot of hits, and specifically can be defensive and do things like, again, set up light screens. It can also Toxic and Trick Room and pass wishes. It also has the move Aromatherapy, which means if any of my Pokemon are poisoned or asleep or paralyzed, Aromatherapy clears any status condition from any of my Pokemon in my party, which is very good to have. So I cannot be statused easily as long as I got Aromatisse to come in and click Aromatherapy. Again, a lot of good support moves, kind of similar to Xatu in that way, but the one thing that makes Aromatisse unique, again, is its Fairy typing, allowing to really check fighting and Dark type Pokemon and Dragon type Pokemon, being Fairy being completely immune to Dragon type, and then again being able to set up itself with Calm Mind and then Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, and then being able to heal the team of status with Aromatherapy. It does have Nasty Plot as well, so it's got a lot of ways to set up itself. It's got a pretty decent special attack stat of 99, like I mentioned, so it can hold its own offensively, but really can also help to support a team if it needs that as well. So there's our draft, everybody. That's all of our Pokemon up there on the screen. We have a lot of different types. We have Fire, Bug, Ice and Dragon, Dark and Fairy, Water, Flying, Grass, Ground, Rock, Fighting, Steel, Psychic and Flying, Fire and Poison and Fairy. We have almost all of the types. I think everything but Electric, and I'm probably missing another one, but I think maybe that's just it. Maybe have everything but Electric. But yeah, our team is really diverse. We have lots of different Pokemon that can do a lot of different things: supportive, offensive, defensive, and then again, tons of type coverage to make sure that we have a type of Pokemon for every single scenario. It's really fun to see everybody's randomized teams, see what everybody got. So I'm really excited for this kind of in between season of IBA season 1 and season 2. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I can't wait for you guys to see some of the ways that I use these Pokemon in these battles. Let me know what Pokemon you think is the best or maybe most underrated, or the Pokemon that you are most excited to see me use. Also, feel free to let me know if you have any ideas for cool things I can do with these Pokemon. If you don't want to comment down below so my opponents don't see, feel free to shoot me a message on Twitter or Discord. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my team. And yeah, make sure to check out some of the other coaches of the IBA, because I think a lot of them are also going to be working on these draft analysis videos. So make sure to check out all the other coaches' content and keep your eyes peeled, because this season of the IBA 1.5 will be starting. The first battles will be going up not this Saturday the 25th, but the following Saturday. which is Saturday, May 2nd. So be sure to tune in to everybody's channel on Saturday, May 2nd to watch the first week of the IBA season 1.5. Can't wait to see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. And again, leave a comment down below. And then I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.